Thanks for joining us. Today is the July 28, 2022 workshop meeting. Please rise for the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So usually we don't have a workshop in the summer months, but I thought it was appropriate for us to discuss some of the recreation projects in our rec fund because we have more projects and not enough money in the rec fund. So I thought it was appropriate for the board to take a look at, to discuss tonight what we have going on right now. Everybody has received the email that I received from the comptroller that shows that we have a current fund balance of $468,000. So that we started at the beginning of 2022 with $550,000. We allocated $27,000 to Saratoga Associates for the proposal for the Veterans Memorial Park across the street. And we had to do a refund for a project up in Stormville called Grape Hollow, which they never built their development, and they paid a recreational fee of $55,000. So that was back many, many years ago. I don't even know how many years ago. Was that more than 10 years ago?
Oh, easily.
Yeah. So we had, they're not going to be building their project in Stormville, so we had to refund the rec fees. Now, we changed that policy, didn't we?
Yes. What happened is, in the old days, I'll call it, you would pay the fee within 2 days of getting approval. But once you get approval from the town, there's still a process you have to follow before you file the map. And state law really says you should collect it upon filing of the map.
Okay.
So we changed the policy to comply with state law.
Okay, very good. So this won't happen in the future. So that leaves us with $468,000 available in our rec fund. Now, we have a few projects that we did authorize, $20,000 to the soccer complex. Councilman Marinaro, you know that was for upgrades to the building and the bathrooms and a couple other items there, correct?
Correct.
That was this year we decided on that. We appropriated $50,000 for the Veterans Memorial Park, which we only used $27,000 of. So that is another $23,000 available there. We, several years ago, probably now pre-COVID, now we talk about everything pre and post-COVID, I guess. So pre-COVID, we discussed that we were looking to build another maintenance garage at Limekiln facility for our rec staff, for our rec maintenance staff, and that was $120,000, and a small garage here at the rec center, which behind town hall we have a building that is about to fall down. That is, I don't even know, it's got to be 30 or 40 years old, but it's just a metal structure that is all banged up that we need to replace, and in there they keep all different kinds of equipment and parts for the mowers and other things. So that was a building for a rehabilitation buildings. We're going to relocate in the Hopewell Rec in some spot by the community center, and that was $33,500. So that leaves us with $271,000 uncommitted. Now the problem comes is that we have been working with the baseball league about Field 5, which that is the field located right behind the library. And we have been planning with them and planning with our engineer and our consultant engineers to look at and design lighting for that field. So the lighting bids came in, and they were roughly about $315,000. Actually, the comptroller put $315,000, but the engineer has revised that to maximum not to spend more than $280,000. Okay, so that would change a few items for us, meaning that would be another 35,000 towards the balance, which then would leave us a delta of only 8,500. So that means if we want to complete all the projects that we have possibly on the agenda to do, we are negative 8,500 in the rec fund. Now, we do have several projects on board that are going to pay into the rec fund, but they are not at the point now to pay rec development funds. So the question is, and I don't know, possibly for the attorney, if we are to complete these projects and possibly move 8,500 of fund balance to the rec fund, can we pay back the fund balance with the dollars coming in the future?
I think if it's a relatively modest amount, there wouldn't be a problem, but, and, you know, I don't know how you feel, Mark, but I think if it was in the $10,000 to $25,000 range, that would be a workable thing, beyond the theory that some of the other projects, they're not going to all hit at once, and you'll probably have some time period.
Yes, that's true, that we could probably, with the timing, what do you think?
I would agree that some small amount we could probably allocate in advance of the fees, but I'd be cautious about putting it.
And possibly with the timing, we might not even need to do that borrowing. But just in case, we don't want to get into the situation where legally we can't do that. So if, and perhaps with the timing of the buildings and whatnot, we might need that, we might not need that. Maybe one of the projects will file their map and then pay their rec fees, and then we won't need any borrowings.
But you have to consider the alternative if they don't go through with it.
Right.
Things that we were expecting, you know, you
That's
don't
why
want to be
we're
too
having
far.
this discussion now. So,
See, the law is the rec funds must go to recreation.
Right.
General town funds can go to recreation. So the issue then derives when you get in the rec fund, you're paying back the general fund, and there's no absolute prohibition against that, but I think the state controller would comment on that in an audit if you know, I think, as we say, if it's a modest amount, I don't think it's going to be an issue, but beyond that, I think it's beyond the process as envisioned.
okay, so basically, it's okay to do, but if we even felt comfortable doing, perhaps we just do the transfer and we don't pay back the rec fund, we just pay
Make
back
it a-
the general fund. We
Make it a
just
general fund
utilize-
appropriation. That's,
If it's
Right, because it's only,
$10,000,
it's less than $10,000.
yes, it's cleaner that way.
We are at our highest fund balance in the town in pretty much our history almost.
As far back as I could see, we're
Yeah.
probably double what our highest was in the heyday of the 2000s.
Right. So what does the board think? What's the board's appetite for these projects, and what are you thinking?
Well, my appetite for these projects, I've always been a huge advocate for recreation and for these sports teams, but I will say that I am not comfortable at all with the projected balance that's here, or even getting any money from our fund, from our balance fund. Not at all. If we can pump the brakes on this, maybe, on some of these projects, because, you know, currently, everything, all the prices are up with inflation. Perhaps we can push some of these back a little bit. I don't like having a zero balance or even a negative balance, obviously. I don't think it's prudent. I think maybe some of these will have to wait. That's just my opinion offhand.
Okay.
I agree, Councilman. The authorized projects that we've, already committed for, I don't see any issue with those going forward. They're what I would even some consider necessities. But some of the considered projects here, potentially we could definitely hold off on. I know it'll be a nice asset to have that one day, but you made a good point that it is not a great time to do some of these purchases, especially with costs and completely depleting these funds. It's just probably not the smartest decision in my opinion, but.
Well, not only that, but from time to time with recreation, things pop up where you don't need an extra 20,000 here, an extra 30,000 there, or 10,000, whatever. I don't want to have to keep relying on our fund balance to move money over and wait for a project to come through. And, you know, God forbid, I mean, we just saw Grape Hollow, we had to give them a refund. So we don't know what's around the corner, and that's part of our job. We're supposed to know what's around the corner. So I would rather be safe than sorry.
Right? God forbid we
As
even know.
bad as I would love lights on Field 5, because I've been a huge advocate for that for years, but I don't know if the time is right now.
Okay. Well, Councilman, what are you thinking?
Well, you know, I mean, for the longest time, I've been saying that, you know, as far as recreation fund balance, we have to really be careful how we invest the money. I totally agree with the previous councilman's suggestions that we cannot zero balance that account. I mean, we have other issues that we have not spoke about at this juncture that still need to be addressed. There are repairs of lights on Limekiln where actually the lights are off and we are waiting for bids to come out. So that's an additional, the bottom line is, should we spend the money in upgrades or should we, at this point, have some money in the account to repair what's broken already? And that's a decision that we have to be very prudent about. You know, some of this stuff we had kind of put together years ago, but right now, because of COVID, the prices are astronomical, especially electrical stuff. I know that we were in agreement that these projects were going to take place, but I really don't like to spend whatever we have and hope for money to come in to continue. Because if something were to happen and we need money, again, the fund balance is not piggyback to go and get money for recreation. So,
Mr. Comptroller, do we have any funds already committed to this? If we were to postpone for right now, would it cost us anything with the considered projects?
For the lighting project, not that I'm aware of, no. No committed expense.
Okay, so hearing what the board is thinking, perhaps we can put a temporary stop on the small building for the Hopewell Rec, and that will be more than enough to cover from the other quotes that we've had for the repairs.
Limekiln.
So then we won't have to worry about borrowing or paying back or using general fund dollars,
Yeah.
so. But just keep in mind also, we have several projects in the planning board stages that are close to being completed, and what is a fee? 7,000, 6,000 a house?
6,000.
6,000, so, you know, we're looking potential of upwards of $2 million coming into the rec fund within the next year. So just keep that in mind as well.
Absolutely. I want to see it.
It can only be used just for recreational
Right.
purposes.
I would prefer to see it on the balance sheet when the controller shows it to us and not have to worry about that. And I'm sure, hopefully, within a year or two, prices will be a little bit cheaper as well.
Yeah, we hope so. We hope so. Okay, that sounds good. Were there any other recreational projects or any other discussion that you want to talk about with recreation while we're discussing it?
Well, recreations, as far as repairs, we also had some issues with the lightning, the walkway between the recreation facility and the senior community center.
Yeah.
We've had company looking for repairs. I mean, those poles have been there a while. The lights keep on going off, and we need to really address that too. We're still waiting for another bid to come, but I think right now, these are priorities over replacing or actually putting together lights on Field 5.
Well, Field 5, we definitely have enough. It's been a long time coming.
Correct.
So, and we do have plenty to do that. We could pump the brakes a little bit on the buildings, on the maintenance sheds and whatnot, and then we could still facilitate the repairs for the lime kiln and the walking trail here in the hamlet. Which, you're right, it's important. That's utilized a lot. and
Correct. People walk at night.
We need to fix
They
that.
walk
right.
their dogs.
No.
It's been utilized by the community quite a bit.
Okay, great.
I'd like to bring up something else. If you go to other towns, a lot of them have turf fields. And I know we've discussed this briefly in the past, but down the road, we should, I know, Councilman, you were taking a look at perhaps getting a turf field or looking into
Right.
something like that. And talking to a lot of the baseball and soccer, lacrosse, football, a turf field down the road would be very, very good in this town. And would we be able to compete with other towns who have facilities like that? And again, we have a great facility here. We've been able to bring in some tournaments, bring in some money into town as they spend in our restaurants. But another complex or transferring some of this over to turf might be something to look at in the future.
For certain, I think it'd be a big benefit for.
Yeah, I mean, Tom, we've had this discussion with soccer and some of the other recreation leaders, and yeah, they are in agreement. And what we intend to do is partner with them and create a couple of possible fields that everybody could use. Because right now, the seasons are going longer. Unfortunately, right now, because we do not have turf, we stop them to play certain fields at a certain time of the year. By going the other way, they'll be able to use it even toward early winter, which they're very happy to do.
Boy, I've seen them use it in late winter.
Right.
So,
So that's something that, it's in the plans. I mean, but it's something that it needs to be discussed more and put
Well,
together.
definitely, we're going to have a good amount of dollars in the rec fund, and then the town board with the Recreation Advisory Council will,
Right.
come up with a plan.
Yep.
When you were rec liaison, didn't you come up with a long-term committee or something like that?
yeah, we were looking at a master plan for recreation, but
plan
it sort of
committee.
fell through the wayside after a while.
Oh, so maybe Councilman Marinaro now, he's the liaison, maybe he
Yeah.
could pick that up. Sure.
Yeah, I asked Tom already about that, and yeah, we'll bring it together again and put a plan together. But at the end of the day, we also want to have that discussion with, soccer is big. They usually utilize the facility the most, but we also have other like
Lacrosse,
recreation lacrosse. There is a need for them to, use fields, and right now there is scheduling issues. We kind of have to make sure that everybody's off the field and on another field, or, scheduling them to proper have enough time on the field. So if we decide to go, using turf in certain facilities, we'll make a lot of lives happy people.
Oh, you better believe it. What other towns have turf?
Oh,
Carmel.
Town recreation.
I believe there was Marlboro, did you say?
Carmel.
Oh, Carmel.
Carmel?
Yeah.
Not the schools, I'm saying the town.
No other towns in Dutchess County, do they have?
Town of Carmel, I think it's the high school field. That was with a grant from the state.
Yeah.
So the recreation in the town utilizes this high school.
High school field.
Okay.
Newburgh.
Newburgh, yeah, but
Goshen.
but I'm saying.
I'm
Dutchess
talking
County.
mainly, traveling with soccer and seeing the
So we
different
would be the
facilities.
first town if we were to do some turf field for town facility.
Around here, more than likely.
Yeah.
So Tom, if we partner with the schools, we could actually do something.
You can
that
do a
Carmel
shared
did?
facility, yeah.
Oh, hold on a second, because we have that, we're supposed to have a reciprocal agreement, but every single time our soccer clubs go and ask to use the school's fields, it's no.
Why don't you
All the
talk
time.
to the new superintendent? He'll work work out something very, very good
No,
for you.
we, well, there's nothing that there's nothing we have that they use.
They use the 52 complex a lot.
Well, then perhaps it's not being, well, don't forget, well, okay. But I know another town I represent just priced out a turf field.
And how much?
The conversion of it was just south of $2 million.
I thought it was $1 million years
No,
ago.
it's the drainage underneath, then there's a pad, a matting that you put down, and then the turf, and then the maintenance of it is very high level.
Did I say turf? I meant to say grass field.
Yeah, Councilman Franco,
So
I think
they
you should.
chose the option of restoring the field for about $750,000 as opposed to creating a turf field.
Wow.
Wow, that's,
Unless we get a big donor to come in.
There's a big donor right
and-
here.
I think Councilman Franco should start collecting bottles and cans.
I have been.
That would help.
It's a lot of bottles.
All right, well, I think then we have a direction where we want to go. We will put the brakes on some of those projects that we authorized and see how the timing goes, and I'll keep the board updated as we move along. We'll move forward with the lights on Field 5, so Councilman, you could talk to baseball. They'll be very happy. And anything else for the workshop? No?
That's it.
All right, well, with that, I'll adjourn the workshop, and at 7 o'clock, we will start our town board meeting.